Hey, what's going on, guys? OJ back here with another video, and today we're going to be talking about UFC fighters who have yet to lose in the UFC. Now, I think it's very impressive, even though you have a couple of losses, that you remain undefeated in the UFC. I feel like a lot of fans uh, get preoccupied with this undefeated record, but fact of the matter is, just because you're undefeated doesn't mean you're all that. I think a couple of these fighters I'm going to show you guys kind of prove otherwise. So today I'm going to have a set of tiers for you guys, just ranking every single fighter who has yet to lose in the UFC, undefeated or not, and just give my subjective opinion based on excitement. So without wasting any more time, let's jump right into the video. All right, the first fighter we're going to talk about, Hamza Chamayv. I'm going to say he's must watch. Now, I'm gonna put him at the bottom of this tier because if I have to nitpick one thing, Hamza Chimaev, let's say he takes the back, but he doesn't get the rear naked choke in the first round. At times, it just looks pretty stale, right? Take for example the Kamaru Usman fight, but more likely or not, he's gonna do what he does. Like take for example the Robert Whitaker fight, where he just broke Robert Whitaker's jaw, and even though that was pretty gruesome, I think it's pretty exciting to watch. So Hamza Chimaev, most of the time, he's very fun. Uh, and even when he's like gone to decisions, like against Gilbert Burns, like he kind of gritted it out. So like, fair play to him. I think the Kamaru Usman fight was just a one-off, but I do feel like there are times where if Hamza Chimaev isn't gonna get the rear naked choke in the first round, I think his performance is gonna drop. But that usually never happens because Hamza Chimaev is an absolute savage. All right, now up next we got Dricus du Plessis. I'm gonna put him also in the must-watch category. Now, very different reason from Hamza Chimaev. You're not really expecting like such dominant wrestling and grappling from DDP. Like DDP, you're kind of expecting him to lose in a way because I don't know, he just looks like a complete goofy goober on the feet and on the ground, where he's like shooting takedowns head first, and he's like running into people with his eyes closed, throwing windmill punches. But EDP, I think that's why he's very exciting because somehow it works. Somehow DDP is able to take someone down and just ragdoll them in the later rounds, or he can just outstrike them on the feet and eventually get a TKO. Again, I can't wait for this fight this weekend. And although these guys are polar opposites, I think DDP is gonna put on a show, assuming this fight goes past the first round. All right, now up next we got Movsar Evloev. I think he can be fun. Like my opinions on Movsar Evloev have kind of changed. Like I used to kind of cloud my judgment on Movsar Evloev because like I just assumed that he's just a pedophile, which he kind of is, but I'm not gonna use that anymore to critique his performances. Based on what I've seen from Movsar Evloev, like there are times where like he does the Arnold Allen thing where he like eventually just puts his hand on the canvas in order to draw out some illegal foul, illegal in quotation marks. But there are also times where he fights like Aljamain Sterling. That fight was actually pretty fun. So he can be fun. More likely or not, it's gonna be kind of a lackluster decision. Like I'm not saying it's gonna be a complete snooze fest, but Movsar Evloev, there are matchups that you can give him where he can have a fun fight. Like take for example the Diego Lopez fight, right? Or including the Aljamain Sterling fight as well, which I said earlier. So yeah, Movsar Evloev can be fun, but if you give him other matchups like much lower ranked competition, he can be pretty boring. All right, now up next we got Taurus Finny. He is the cure to insomnia. If you're having trouble sleeping, just turn on a Taurus Finny fight and just you'll be falling asleep within the first 3 minutes. Taurus Finney just refuses to hurt his opponents, and that is my main gripe with Taurus Finney. When has Taurus Finney ever thrown a punch? I have no idea. Taurus Finney literally just holds people down as if this is wrestling in order to win his fights. I hope Taurus Finney, unless he changes his style, I hope he gets slumped out because Taurus Finney just literally doesn't do anything like exciting. So yeah, cure to insomnia. I'll literally put him on when I'm like having trouble sleeping, but I'm not really gonna watch a Taurus Finny fight willingly. All right, now up next we got uh Dean Silva. I'm gonna put him in the must-watch TV. Now he is kind of an autistic. All right, I don't know if I can say that on YouTube, but he kind of is. But that's a good thing in this sense because he's a crazy character. Always barking at people, talking about like crucifixion and stuff like that to Bryce Mitchell. Like Gene Silva is an absolute character, and hey, I love watching that because he backs it up with his performances. Now, I do think that if Gene Silva ever loses at some point, the antics and all that will massively hinder his performance. But hey, he's winning right now, so for now, he's at must see TV. Who knows if that'll change in the near future? But for now, Gene Silva is yet to lose. All right, now up next we got Shavkat Rachmanov. I'm gonna put him also in the must-watch TV tier. Now, a lot of people might consider Shavkat Rachmanov kind of a boring clincher who just holds people up against the cage. I kind of get it because of the Ian Gary fight, but at the same time, I think that's just Ian Gary. Ian Gary is a boring snooze fest. So I think Ian Gary kind of canceled out Shavkat Rachmanov's like excitement levels. All right. Am I just saying this because I hate Ian Gary and I love Shavkat Rachmanov? Yes. But like, can you blame me? Like Ian Gary, more likely or not, is gonna make a fight incredibly boring. So I'm gonna say that that was a one-off. Other than that, though, Shavkat Rachmanov has been able to submit or knock out everybody he fights. All right, what could be more exciting than that? All right, 18 finishes across 19 wins. I think that's an insane stat. And the only reason he didn't get a finish in his last fight is because he fought Cockchato, who literally makes every fight boring as fuck. So I'm gonna say that Shavkat Rachmanov, if he's not fighting Ian Gary, I'd say he's must see TV because he's just gonna maraud forward with his chin up in the air and he's just gonna swing a bunch of shit or just try to clinch up with you and throw nasty knees or just try to bulldog choke you like a bully. Yeah, Shavkat Rachmanov, outside of the Ian Gary fight, must see TV. All right, now up next we got Lerone Murphy. Yeah, he's pretty mid. Like he can get a knockout here or two, but let's be honest, like no one's really watching a Leroy Murphy fight. Like I feel like Leroy Murphy, he's basically Leon Edwards on his alt account. Like they fight exactly the same. They just distance control, tap the leg kick. The only difference I see from Leroy Murphy is that his boxing is better. So I guess that's a plus. But outside of that, really, like I don't think Leroy Murphy is all that exciting. And I don't know, his fight with Josh Emmett in the Apex last time, it was not that fun to watch, right? Maybe if he gets a finish over Aaron Pico this weekend, which I do kind of expect because Aaron Pico, uh, I think he's been fighting Bellator schmucks, and Leroy Murphy, although he's pretty boring, like he is a top level UFC fighter. So maybe this is one of the fights that Leroy Murphy can actually get a finish in, and maybe he can be fun for once. All right, now up next we got Amin Zahabi, also pretty mid. Like Amin Zahabi, just I don't know what he does well, right? I understand he had that back and forth crazy war with Jose Aldo. I don't think it was that crazy of a back and forth war. Like in the end of the second round and the third round, it was. But in the beginning of the fight, where like they're just feeling it out, Amin Zahabi just doesn't do anything to really impress me. I guess, like in terms of excitement, like he just kind of stands there and he just kind of throws shots without really landing much of anything. Now, against Jose Aldo towards the later half of the fight, he was able to land some nasty ground and pound. But even then, like, it was because Jose Aldo was gassed and he couldn't finish 38-year-old gassed out Jose Aldo. So, I guess Eamon Zahabi, Like, I guess he's good, but to be honest, I don't really see why the UFC is trying to promote him at this point, and, I just don't think Amin Zahabi is all that fun to watch. Alright, now up next, we got Narula Aliyev. Now, most of you probably don't even know who this guy is, and I'm actually glad, because if you know who he is, Jesus Christ, this guy just cannot throw a punch effectively to save his career. Now, despite being 10-0 and undefeated, like, I do not want to see him fight. All right. And it's not because he has the Aliyev name and he's like from like that part of the world. No, it's because he literally refuses to throw shots. Like, Hamza Chamayv is very exciting. Islam Makhachev is very exciting. Nurullo Aliyev, all he does is just crotch sniff and wrestle. So yeah, it's similar to Taurus Finny, literal cure to insomnia, and I hope I never see his fight willingly. All right, now up next, we're gonna go with Zhang Ming Yang. I'm gonna put him in the exciting tier. Now he has been able to get highlight reel KOs over every single opponent he's fought, but then again, most of the opponents he's fought are absolute schmucks. Anthony Smith, Branson Ribeiro, Ozzy Diaz. Yeah, he's not getting them against like top level competition. Now, to be fair, is Johnny Walker, who's he's going to be fighting in late August, top level competition. Not exactly, but I think Johnny Walker is a big step up in competition. So it's going to be interesting to see whether or not Zheng Mingyang can replicate the success he has against like a top 15 caliber light heavyweight. So yeah, I'm gonna say that Zhang Mingyang is very exciting, but I wouldn't be surprised if he moves up sometime near in the near future. All right, now up next, we're gonna go with Jack Della Maddalena. I think Jack Della Maddalena is must see TV. Now, unlike all the other guys who are known for like their incredible finishing potential, Jack Della Maddalena, he can finish fights, but he's more prone to just piecing you up at range and just picking his shots very well. I think his boxing combinations are beautiful to watch, which is why I always tune into JDM fights. And if you're someone who likes the crispy, sweet science of boxing, then I think JDM's your guy. Henceforth, why I consider JDM must see TV. All right, now up next, I'm gonna go with Ramazan Temirov. I think Ramazan Temirov. Uh, he can be fun. Now, it's gonna be interesting to see who the UFC puts Ramazan Temirov up against because Temirov, like, he can KO schmucks like CJ Vergara, but when he's fighting like good fighters like Charles Johnson, for example, like he was doing well in the first round, but it was like pure aggression maxing, and then from rounds 2 and 3, he completely gasses out and he's not being able to throw anything effective against like Charles Johnson. Now, Charles Johnson unfortunately didn't have time to throw anything back until like the third round, where he was like beating the shit out of Ramazan Temirov. But that performance got me thinking. I think Temirov, he's good and he's fun, but if he doesn't get the first round finish, he's gonna look like a sitting duck. So if the UFC gives him someone who's like known for like gritting through like 3 round or 5 round wars, then I don't think it's gonna be good for Temirov. But if Temirov fights someone who's like looking for an early finish as well, I think Temirov is gonna be very fun to watch. All right, now up next we got Mauricio Rufy. I'm gonna say that Mauricio Rufy is very exciting to watch. Now, Mauricio Rufy, I think in terms of what he's able to show, is more exciting than Gene Silva. But Gene Silva's like antics and all that stuff kind of carry him, whereas Mauricio Rufy, I'm just watching for a clean fight and a clean knockout. Now, there are times where, like, if he doesn't get the knockout, he is gonna gas out, which is my concern. Take, for example, the James Lontop fight, where because James Lontop came in like 10 pounds overweight, Mauricio Rufy wasn't able to just knock him out cleanly, and eventually gassed himself out in the third round, kind of looking mid. Now, Mauricio Rufy, I still think is going to be a legitimate contender, but there is kind of that worry that if he doesn't get the knockout within the first 2 rounds, he may slow down and just not look the same as he did in the first two. So yeah, I'm gonna say that Mauricio Rufy is very exciting. Uh, if he continues to get knockouts within the first 2 rounds, then I think I'm gonna move him up. But for now, I'm gonna say that Mauricio Rufy, very exciting fighter to watch. All right, now up next we got Caio Baralho. I think he's also very exciting to watch. Now there are times where Caio Baralho does look to just draw decisions, but for the most part, even the decisions are pretty entertaining to watch. For example, his last fight with Jared Cannonier, that was arguably a fight of the night with Jared Cannonier. Maybe fight of the month, possibly. Actually, no, not fight of the year. But you get my point. Caio Baralho, uh, he is very well-rounded, and he can very much put on a striking clinic and grapple when necessary. The thing that kind of holds me back from Kyle Barallo, however, is he's not mixing that many things up. Right? Like, it's not like he's throwing wheel kicks and all that stuff. It's not like he's just ragdolling people in the first round and stuff like that. Typically, Kyle Burrell builds into a fight and eventually finds a finish in the second or third round. Now, he is very fun to watch, don't get me wrong. And I think his fight with Nasruddin Mavov coming up next month is going to be absolute fireworks. But again, if Kyle Barallo, if he can actually get his finishing potential up, I think he can be must-see TV, but for now, I'm gonna put him in the very exciting tier. Alright, now up next, we got, Rainor de Ritter. I think Rainor de Ritter, can be fun. Now, there are times where Rainor de Ritter just looks mid, like, take, for example, the GM3 fight, but relatively speaking, I think Rainer de Ritter is an elite level middleweight, and I think he will be able to win certain matchups at the top of the division. Take for example, I think he beats Israel Adesanya. I understand he already beat Robert Whitaker. I think he can beat Sean Strickland. I think Rainer de Ritter though, if he fights someone like maybe like Hamza Chamayv, I don't think it's gonna work out for him because I don't see Rainer de Ritter really being able to do much of anything. So it just kind of depends on if he's going to be able to survive the later rounds. Because I think Rainer de Ritter is the type of fighter that needs to get past the first round in order to build something up. Because all of his weapons are kind of investment shots. Like, for example, like the knee to the body, which is basically a signature strike. Like, it's not going to really affect people in the first round. Alright, you kinda have to wait a little bit before it does. But yeah, Rainer de Ritter, he can be fun. Just don't give him matchups like Hamza Chimaev because I think Hamza Chimaev's gonna absolutely destroy him. But if you give him the right matchups where like you know it's gonna be like a 4 or 5 round fight, then I think Rainer de Ritter can be fun. Alright, now up next we got Ilia Tuporia. I'm gonna say that Ilia Tuporia is must-see TV. Ilia Tuporia, he's been knocking out everybody, including Charles Oliveira, which I haven't recovered from yet, but hey, Ilia Topuria, relatively speaking, he's looked he's looked unstoppable. So he's been knocking out every single person he fought. He's been calling when he's gonna knock people out. So I think Ilia Topuria, even though people say he's like a Connor knockoff and now like he's ducking certain fighters, like to be fair, like well, he's not really ducking Armin. Like he'll probably smoke Armin. Right? What the fuck is Armin gonna do? Like realistically. But yeah, I think Ilia Topuria is gonna be must see TV moving forward. As long as he just fights, all right. I think that's the one thing that holds Ilia Topuria back, right? Like Ilia Topuria, he needs to fight more often. Like I know he just fought in June, but like realistically, he shouldn't be fighting once every 9 months. Like I think his last fight was in October of last year. So that's kind of annoying, and that kind of means that we're not going to see him anytime soon. But hopefully that changes uh, because he is must see TV whenever he's fighting. All right, now up next we got Azimat Mzakonov. I think Azimat Mzakonov can be fun. Like he does have like finishing potential, but at the same time, a lot of the fights that he's in, it's just like, oh, it's a clean boxing match, all right? Like not in like the JDM way where like the combinations are beautiful. He's just like popping the left hand or just like popping the jab. Like there's not really like any extensive combination that you're like, oh wow, that was beautiful to watch. I think Azamat Murzakanov, like if you give him someone that like can put up a fight, then he can be fun to watch because it's gonna be a high level match. But relatively speaking, like if you give him some schmuck, then it's gonna be very anticlimactic. He's just gonna knock them out with like one or two punches. And like not that to not to say that it's not fun, but I kind of expected because I've already seen Mirzakhanov. Even though Mirzakhanov looks like a bag of milk, like, his look is very deceiving. Azimat Mzakonov's very good, so, hopefully he fights someone who's very good. I know he's fighting Rakic. I don't think Rakic is very good, alright? I think Mrzakhanov is probably gonna knock him out in the 1st or 2nd round, but maybe not because Mrzakhanov, I don't think he's been tested yet, so it's very interesting to see how Mrzakhanov is gonna look against, like, someone who's within the top 8 of the light heavyweight division. But yeah, I'm gonna be rooting for Azamat Mrzakhanov in that fight because I don't want to see Alexander Rakic win. Right now, up next we got Paddy Pimblett. I'm gonna say that Paddy Pimblett is pretty exciting to watch. Now, Paddy Pimblett, I do think that the Jared Gordon fight did drop his stock a lot, but relatively speaking, Paddy Pimblett, he's looked pretty solid. I actually no, I take that back. The Tony Ferguson fight also didn't help. But realistically, I think Paddy Pimblett's grappling is really fun to watch. He submitted Bobby Green in like a nasty armbar into a triangle, and against Michael Chandler, he was just ragdolling him for 3 straight rounds before getting a ground and pound TKO. Overall, Paddy Pimblett, I think he's coming into his prime, and that's what makes it fun because Paddy Pimblett, he potentially looks like a legitimate title challenger. Now, I do think Paddy Pimblett needs to win one more fight before he fights Ilia Tuporia, and even then, I'm still gonna pick Ilia Tuporia to knock out Paddy Pimblett. But hey, if Paddy Pimblett can replicate this performance against like a top 5 level contender of the lightweight division, then I think that Paddy Pimblett is gonna quickly find himself in the must see TV. All right, now up next we got Malcolm Wellmaker. I'm gonna put him in the exciting tier. Now, Malcolm Wellmaker, the only reason I'm gonna put him here is because he's fought like bums. Actually, no, Cameron Simon isn't a bum, but he's not exactly the highest level of competition. So, if he can replicate his performances at a higher level, then I'm gonna put him on must see TV. But it's because he's fighting like cans or just fighters that the UFC is just setting him up for an easy victory. I'm gonna put him at the exciting tier for now. But if he can replicate this at the higher level, then hey, I have no problem putting Malcolm Wellmaker at must see TV. All right, now last but not least, we got Vinicius Oliveira. I'd say he's pretty exciting. Now, I don't think Vinicius Oliveira is must see TV. I know he's very fun to watch, but his finishing potential isn't as good as I thought. I think he just kind of marauds forward and just kind of wings a bunch of shots and just purely use aggression in order to intimidate his opponents. I don't know if that's going to necessarily work against the top level of competition. And also, I don't think Vinicius Oliveira, if he goes past the 2nd round against top level competition, is going to look that impressive. But if he proves me wrong, I wouldn't mind him. I wouldn't mind putting up in must see TV because Vinicius Oliveira, he's been getting highlight reel KOs early in his career, and he has been looking pretty dominant throughout most of his fights. So yeah, Vinicius Oliveira, if he continues to go on the same path that he has been against like top 10, top 8 level competition, then I wouldn't mind bumping him up a little bit. All right, that's gonna be it for today's video. Leave a comment down below what you guys think about this list, and also leave a comment down below any other unbeaten fighter that I've missed. But other than that, though, make sure to like and subscribe. I'll make a video about UFC's deal with Paramount Plus sometime tomorrow. And but until then, I will see you guys next time. Peace.